Hello, welcome to Gurukul's Cat 100 series, a series that's designed specifically to take you from your study room to the corporate boardroom. I am Prady Sharma and this is Verbal Mastery with Prady.
Hello and welcome back to day 80 of our 100 days to cat test series. Today I've gotten you 5 new VA questions. So all you've got to do is pause the video when the question appears, solve it and then move on to the next question. Once you're done, please type down your answers in the comments so that we can check at the end how many you've gotten correct. So this is your first question for today. This is your second question for today. This is your third question for today. This is your fourth question for today. And this is your fifth question for today. In case you want to attempt this as a test, all you've got to do is go on to www.thegurukul.org.in and sign up for our 100 Days to CAT test series. This is a free test series which has been giving students 100 free tests of CAT level Quant, VA and LRDI every day so that you can crack CAT 2025 in this attempt. So now let's move into the explanations of all these questions. So the first question is a para completion type of question. Now in this question, the statement given is that we all know this. So my first frame of reference, my first thought that I get is what is this? So there should be some kind of a factual information that all of us must have known, correct? So the paragraph says some cultural products live on and others die out, right? So over here I have a blank. Now if I were to see this particular statement, this actually looks like a fact, correct? So placing our actual statement at 1 makes a lot of sense, but let's read through the rest of it and let's then decide whether it should go into 1 or some other blank. But why do some works of creativity thrive and make history while others disappear as they have been released? Okay, so here he's asking, so we all know that some cultural products live on and others die out, so we all know this part. Okay, fine, makes a lot of sense. But then he again questions, there's another premise that he's adding up. Why do some works of creativity, they continue to be and then they make it history while others just fade away? Okay, what makes an idea, a poem, a song, fashion or item popular? So what is it that makes it popular? There's so many possible explanations that it amounts to a mystery. Okay, now over here can I place we all know this? No, because he's not given me any fact. He said that there are a lot of explanations. Now if we know the explanations, the rest of the paragraph is obsolete, right? So next part, many artists and maybe even more producers, gallery owners and studio executives aspired and worked to understand the path to popularity in creative industries. Okay, now there's a reasoning that's been going on. There are so many possible explanations and he's talking to me about the explanations. The number of companies that depend on the understanding of culture is huge. It ranges from, so again, the number of companies that depend on the understanding of culture is huge. Okay, and then he's telling me what does it range from? Okay, so it ranges from the big conglomerates in creative industries such as fashion, advertising or film to all giant tech companies that rely on the understanding of human behaviors and taste. Now this itself looks like a conclusion. This part, this last line itself looks like a conclusion. So me placing anything post this, okay, does not really make much sense. So since we cannot place it in any other blank, we'll be putting it in the first blank. So our correct answer will be option 1. Now let's move into the second question. Second question is an odd man out type of question. So it's an odd man out type of question. Let's read through the 5 sentences and then decide which sentence should not be placed or what's the theme of all these 5 sentences together. Okay, it also ignores the possibility that adoring a player of a different race might be powerful force for good than any number of affirmative action initiatives. So probably in this statement he's talking to me about, you know, racism, okay, and how some sport or sportsman being admired is good. Okay, second statement, though it may not seem like the days of politicians using football to relate to ordinary Americans are numbered. So again, in this part also he's talking to me about, you know, football, which is a sport, and politicians, right? So he's talking to me about politicians and football. Third one, the notion that the sport is racist because the players risking injury are mostly black and the fans mostly white ignores the fact that the game is the only one followed by equal fanaticism by black and white Americans. Now again, this third option also talks to me about racism and fans, especially in sports. Okay, Fourth one, the link between the sport and violence off pitch is spurious. Violent crime has been declining since the early 1990s, since when football has become even more popular. So what's the meaning of this word spurious? This word spurious technically means something that is false. Okay. So basically he's saying that, okay, violence off the pitch is spurious. That means there's no link between sport and the violence of the pitch. Okay, in fact, violent crime has been declining since the early 1990s when the sport became popular. So now broadly, I can think of 3 words to define the theme of all of these 5 sentences. The first word is violence, second word is race, and third word is sport. Okay, now the 5th sentence, many of the charges thrown at football are bogus. Now see, once I say that many of the charges thrown at football are bogus, then I can go and say that the link between sport and violence of the pitch is spurious. That means it's fake, since some things that are bogus are being explained over here. So clearly 5, 4 go together. Then if I look at 3, the notion that sport is racist because players risking injury are mostly black and the fans mostly white ignores the fact that the game is the only one followed by equal fanaticism. So this further takes up the argument for me. So 5, 4, 3 can be a pair, can be a nice order. Then 1 says it also ignores the possibility. So it's adding to the context that I'm talking about. So 5, 4, 3 and 1 should be my order, with 2 being the odd man out. Now let's go into the third question. Third question is another para completion type of question where the sentence says, in the bustling heart of the city, skyscrapers reach for the sky, casting long shadows on crowded streets, and the hum of activity fills the air. Now, the moment you read this sentence, you're more than likely to think that this is an introduction, because this is basically setting up, you know, a nice visual representation for what happens in the cities, correct? So, paragraph starts within this urban landscape. So, the moment you see within this urban landscape, clearly in the sentence, we have defined the urban landscape, right? Okay, so whenever I say within this urban landscape, innovative technologies play a pivotal role, streamlining processes and connecting people in ways unimaginable a few decades ago. Obviously, I'm very tempted to take this sentence and place it at 1. But let's look at what else can we place it at. If we are not having any other place where we can put this, then definitely we're going to go with 1 because it looks like a very good introduction. Now, second part, despite the undeniable progress. So here we have spoken about progress. This part we have spoken about technological progress, and here he says despite the undeniable progress. So definitely not going to be placing the statement at 2 because then I'll be breaking the flow. So despite the undeniable progress, the rapid pace of urbanization has raised questions about sustainability, with concerns ranging from energy consumption to the strain on essential resources. Fair enough. So the more you have progressed, there are more concerns that you are getting. Strategies for smart urban development are now imperative. So I have certain problems, which is why you're coming up with the strategies. So there's a good flow over here. So definitely not going to break that flow either. So strategies for smart urban development are now imperative, focusing on creating cities that harmonize technological advancements with environmental responsibility. Great. The juxta option of modern marvels and environmental considerations. So again, over here, we are talking about modern marvels and environmental considerations, which has just been spoken up over here as technological advancements with environmental responsibility. So the flow again is very good for us to break. So let's not break the flow. So obviously the best possible place to put this option or a place to put this sentence is option 1. So let's go to the fourth question now. Oh my God. Now the fourth question is a para summary type of a question. So the paragraph reads, World War II profoundly impacted society, with women increasingly joining the workforce during the war, though many returned to domestic roles post-war as societal norms shifted. The Red Army's advance left tens of thousands to over 2 lakh World War II profoundly impacted society, with women increasingly joining the workforce during the war, though many returned to domestic roles post-war as societal norms shifted. The Red Army's advance left tens of thousands to over 20 lakh women and girls in East Germany victims of rape, deeply affecting attitudes towards sex and causing lasting social tensions. Okay, so what's the idea that I get from here? I get the idea that World War II caused lasting social tensions. Okay. Now, German soldiers fathered many war children in occupied nations like France, Denmark, and Norway, where children and mothers face severe post-war recriminations. Now, what are these recriminations? You being accused for something that someone else has done. Okay, recriminations, especially in Norway with the Sikkerenger. Now, what is this Sikkerenger? Sikkerenger is nothing but children of war. Okay, the war's high casualties skewed the demographics, with Bavaria's male to female ratio dropping to 60% for some age groups. Okay, so again, this is the impact that I see of World War II. Right, okay. Out of wedlock births surged to 22% due to a disrupted marriage market. Militarily, WW2 or World War II highlighted air power's dominance, rendering battleships and fixed fortifications obsolete, with advanced aircraft and guided missiles. So, over here, I can see that some kind of a technological advancement has happened due to World War II, specifically in the military, however. Okay, now let's go through the options and let's see which one actually comes close to the passage. A. World War II had long-lasting social effects on people of different countries and also brought about a lot of technological advance in the military. Now, this is a little too broad. Okay, so if we do not find any other answer, then we'll go with this answer. Otherwise, we'll go with some other answer. B. World War II caused a lot of psychological problems, mainly for women and children, since they were the ones to suffer the most. Okay, agreed, but this is very partial scope. It's too narrow. Okay, so this I would not take as the answer, because out of three, ideas that I have, this covers hardly half an idea, not even one idea. World War II created a lot of social problems in different countries, fair enough, including technological advancements in the military. Now see, the technological advances in the military are not a social problem, right? So the kind of tone that this option has taken is definitely wrong. So I'm going to take this out for tone mismatch. Now D. World War II caused various social problems between men and women. Again, the problems were not just between men and women, they were throughout the society. It also introduced the military to various new weapons. Okay, so the second idea is fine, but the first idea is somewhat distorted. So we're going to remove this also. Now the best option for us amongst these four becomes the broadest option, which is A. So A will be our answer. Now let's go to the last question of this day. Now this is again a para completion type of a question where the statement reads, if I'm the type of teenager that likes trouble. Now the first clue that I get from this is if I am something. Okay, now when I have if I am something, then XYZ. Okay, or I'll be getting then XYZ if ABC. Right, so these are the two ways in which you can think about the conditional of if. So over here he says, when I was younger, I wouldn't always listen. If I'm the type of teenager that likes trouble, I don't want to hear about anyone who's trying to step away from it. Now, this makes a lot of sense, right? Why? Because when he was younger, he wouldn't always listen. So, if he's that type of teenager who likes trouble, then definitely he wouldn't want to hear about anyone who's trying to step away from that, unless they're in my face like, brother, wake up, this is not a joke. Okay, now over here I cannot put this sentence, if I'm the type of teenager that likes trouble, right? So instead of telling them don't do this, don't do that, I'd say, okay, cool, if you're going to do this, then you need to know what comes with it, the consequences, right? So this part is very coherent, right? It feels like a dialogue. So I'm going to take off the need from to, or try to avoid certain situations, which is again coherent. I would do A or B. So this part actually is a coherent thing. If someone draws you out and you want to go and fight, think about it first. Every action has a reaction. Now, again, this part does not look like a conclusion, so definitely not going to be 4 either. So the best possible option where we can place this is option 1. Now, if you watch this video till here, then please make sure that you hit that like button. It motivates us a lot to keep bringing videos like this for you every single day. Share these resources with your friend who is preparing for CAT 2025 and subscribe to this channel. I'll see you in the next video.
Hope you enjoyed learning from today's session.
This series is designed to help you with your CAT preparation and practice daily. We are with you in this journey.
To watch the next video, click here. And to watch Gurukul's CAT 100 series, study room to boardroom, the entire playlist, click here.
If you learned from today's session, like, share,
Sa pagkara, sa pagkaray, sa
and subscribe.